I went through the master's program of Arctic Studies under Professor Jan Borm, and then I stuck with UVSQ for my doctorate program as well. So I taught at the school, studied at the school, and had a fantastic experience, and then ended up moving back to the United States afterward. Being within the Arctic Studies program gave me so many opportunities. I really loved that the Arctic Studies program was so multi-dimensional. We learned so much about the sciences, the humanities, about social sciences, politics, all kinds of things. I really loved that experience, and I experienced the same thing here. Just being here in the Arctic is just such a fantastic thing. This week has been so awesome. Being with so many different kinds of people is exactly like our master's program was, where I got to be side by side with people from all over the world. It's the same experience here, and I just love it. The thing that I really like, again, is just the diversity of sessions. I really like the roundtable discussions that we've seen, where you get to hear so many voices of so many people. This morning was sustainable development, which was just fantastic because you get to see someone from the Norwegian government talk about their perspective of sustainable growth mixed with the perspective of the Sami people. And then also some entrepreneurs from Alaska, a government minister for Finland. That thing's so cool to me. So I really enjoyed that experience a whole lot. But just outside of that, what sustainable development means, what indigenous rights are all about, from all kinds of different people who had different views on that. So I really liked that experience. UVSQ gave me so much. We had something like 16 people in our master's program, and almost all of them were from different countries. We had people from different places in Africa. We had people from Siberia. We had people from Greenland. We had some French people. I was from the U.S. So just all kinds of different people. And just being able to sit and talk with them on a daily basis and learn about their life experiences, learn alongside them, and get their perspectives as we learned was something that UVSQ really gave to me that I didn't feel like I would have found at very many other master's programs. So just getting that. And then all my great professors. I mean, Jan Borm's been such a good, mentor for me, and some of our other professors like Jean-Michel Huctin, who have experience on the ground all over the world. I mean, my professors have spent time with reindeer herders in Russia, with villages in Greenland, with all kinds of different people. We had a professor who was in Antarctica for a while. So just being able to talk with these people one-on-one was just a fantastic thing.
Ce qui est intéressant dans l'Arctic Congrès, c'est vraiment une conférence de chercheurs scientifiques. Point intéressant, c'est vraiment aussi une conférence dédiée aux sciences sociales et aux sciences humaines. Donc ça, c'est assez intéressant, contrairement à d'autres conférences autour de l'Arctique où il y a généralement beaucoup de sciences, disons, dures. C'est très important puisque c'est aussi l'Arctic Congress, le réseau de toutes les universités arctiques. Donc il y a vraiment ce prisme de la recherche et du lien en fait entre universités en Arctique, mais aussi en dehors de l'Arctique. C'est l'occasion pour moi aussi de porter à travers une table ronde des sujets qui, disons, sont au centre de ma recherche à Tromsø. J'organise donc une table ronde autour des enjeux miniers dans la région arctique et la question de la soutenabilité dans les opérations extractives et particulièrement évidemment dans la région arctique et les enjeux. Les problématiques qui entourent les questions extractivistes, notamment du fait aujourd'hui de la pression des États, des grandes puissances industrielles pour la transition énergétique, où il y a une demande croissante pour les métaux critiques. Et c'est vrai que du fait des richesses géologiques de la région arctique, on voit en fait une montée d'un intérêt croissant sur ces enjeux-là, et évidemment pour la communauté scientifique de chercheurs, c'est vraiment important de se saisir de cette question et évidemment identifier les nœuds critiques de ce secteur économique qui est en développement depuis ces dernières années.
Well, I think it's an incredible opportunity to come together and learn from each other across many different disciplines, really, all within the social sciences regarding current research in the Arctic. I hope to have an opportunity to learn about work that's very different from my own, that's happening in schools and universities in other countries. So that's what I'm most looking forward to, and making connections with colleagues and new friends, and really just expanding beyond my own department, my own school, and being challenged in new ways.
Le congrès dans lequel on est en ce moment, c'est le congrès de l'Association internationale des sciences sociales dans l'Arctique, qui a lieu à tous les 3 ans. Et cette année, ce congrès est jumelé avec le congrès de l'Université de l'Arctique pour une des premières fois. Cette association-là a été fondée en 1996, je crois, en Alaska. Et au début, on était une centaine de personnes à créer cette association-là. Aujourd'hui, on a, je sais pas, j'ai pas les chiffres exacts, mais on a 1 millier de membres à peu près. Beaucoup d'étudiants ici. La plupart des présentations ont été faites par des étudiants qui sont à la maîtrise ou au doctorat dans les différentes universités. Oui, c'est l'occasion, c'est l'endroit où discuter de ces choses-là. Avant la création de l'Association internationale des sciences sociales dans l'Arctique, il n'y avait pas de lieu où les gens de sciences sociales pouvaient se rassembler, à part la conférence sur les études inuites, mais évidemment qui rassemblait des gens qui travaillent presque seulement sur les questions inuites, alors que les populations autochtones dans l'Arctique circumpolaire, il y en a de très nombreuses. La session qu'on a organisée portait sur les inégalités sociales et économiques dans l'Arctique circumpolaire. Et l'idée vient d'un grand programme de recherche que nous menons à l'Université Laval à Québec avec une équipe internationale qui, à l'origine, comptait une grande équipe de Russie et avec laquelle, malheureusement, on ne peut pas travailler. Mais on a des chercheurs, des étudiants qui sont dans tous les pays du cercle polaire. Les inégalités s'accroissent dans l'Arctique, comme on a pu le constater à l'occasion de plusieurs travaux successifs, comparatifs, donc dans l'espace et dans le temps. Et on a voulu comprendre le phénomène, tenter de le mesurer et d'en expliquer les dimensions et de voir quelles étaient les conséquences de l'accroissement des inégalités entre les régions et à l'intérieur même de chacune des régions polaires.
My presentation was about how to potentially manage increasing vessel traffic in the Bering Strait. Arctic Congress is like the perfect place for it, so the Bering Strait, even though it's only part of Russia and Alaska, every single vessel that's transiting in the Arctic, making transpolar routes, they all go through the Bering Strait. And so being able to come to a conference like this with people from all over the Arctic, all over the world even, is super beneficial, especially as a master's student, being able to get feedback on my research, seeing if it's actually applicable to various parts of the Arctic is extremely important. So I'd say overall, the biggest thing, so I'm a master's student in public policy, so I'm kind of looking at like how policy can positively impact the communities in the area. So the biggest thing is policy does change vessel behavior, so then that can be working with different stakeholders, different communities can then implement more policy to protect different aspects of life in the region.
Initially, I'm a chemist by training, but in the wake of the Russian invasion of Ukraine, I had to switch to social research as I am an indigenous Siberian person, and I know that people of my ethnicity and in general indigenous Siberian people and indigenous people of the north are overrepresented among the Russian side casualties of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. So my talk today was about Arctic indigenous people among the Russian side casualties of the Russian-Ukrainian war. It is super important to get the word out, for this story to be told and for the indigenous voices to be heard, because no one is actually talking about this issue, because on the one hand it is widely known that Russia's ethnic minorities are overrepresented among Russian side casualties of this war. However, very little quantitative data is available, and no one, as far as I know, had previously attempted to address specifically the Arctic indigenous people and Arctic indigenous communities being impacted by this war. And in reality, it is a silent disaster no one is talking about, because the Arctic indigenous people of Russia have the highest per capita death toll in this war.
My research predominantly focuses on food, transportation, and infrastructure, and particularly how products move from urban centers to remote communities in the Arctic, particularly in Alaska. And so this audience here as a regional conference where people understand the complexities of the Arctic systems and the specific needs of remote communities at the end of very long supply chains was a particularly relevant audience for me as an economist. And I'd really like to understand the perspectives that other remote communities face in the Arctic to help improve my own research and to find collaborators to think about the problems of general supply chains for foods and medicines and other essential items, and how we can think in more of a circumpolar context to approach this in a better way. There are a lot of really interesting sessions here, and one thing that I expect to learn is I expect to hear from audiences that I've never encountered before. This is my first time at the Arctic Congress, and when I can find an audience with folks who are from Iceland and Greenland and Canada and Norway, Sweden, Finland, and even some folks from Russia. Where else in the world can you get all of those people with that specialized of a background in one place? And so I expect to find people that work on food and work on transportation, not perfectly overlap with what I do, but that have knowledge of those environments in a way that I would never find in any other conference.
In my talk, I was kind of looking at how people engage with transport infrastructures in a specific regional geographic context, if you like, in northern Manitoba, in the community of Churchill, and what the role of transport infrastructures is in the community and for the people, and how this has been changing over the last years. And also looking into the past, also looking what could happen in the future. It's the first time that I'm able to meet people, learn from others, share ideas and thoughts, so that's why I came here and hope to meet a lot of interesting friends and fellow colleagues. My message would be that if you want to understand transportation infrastructures, you have to also listen to the local people and to kind of look what they have been doing with these transportation infrastructures, and also to learn from the past to see what could happen in the future.
We must together, 8 countries of Arctic Council, working on this field. Yeah. Scientists in the format people to people, expert to expert. It's very, very, very fruitful, yeah, I think.
This is one of the biggest Arctic Congress where actually there are many substantive issues we are discussing in this conference, and at the same time it is also important to see your friends and colleagues, who are here and working in similar issues or kind of issues that are not exactly related to your own topic, but you learn from the other colleagues, what research and what area of expertise they share with other Arctic communities, and somehow that gives us the opportunity to do the network, and we network with our colleagues and try to develop new ideas and discuss, and that always brings new ideas to come up. I was actually attending in several sessions. So in one of the sessions where I was myself also speaking, it was a panel on science diplomacy in the Arctic, and also we were looking into the new situation after Russia's invasion of Ukraine, and you know that Russia, cover half of the or over half of the Arctic. So without Russia's presence, how do we share scientific information and communicate sciences with other stakeholders and also researchers? So those are the important issues we have been discussing there, and what would be the future of Arctic cooperation in these current circumstances. Do we have any hope that we will bring back our colleagues from Russia who were working with us on many different issues about Arctic sciences?
Recently I've been working with interdisciplinary aspects of change in the Arctic. So as a biologist I would normally look at the natural environment, but I've been working more and more with people in social sciences, health, to a more holistic view of the Arctic and change. And so this is an extremely exciting conference for me, to get a broader view of what's happening in the Arctic and what it means to the people there, as well as to the animals and plants. Personally, to broaden my horizons, to hear of other views which people are bringing here, which are something I wouldn't normally be in the hearing of, as it were, because more of the hard science is on its own, focuses very strongly on certain aspects. So a broader understanding, I think, and just talking with people I've met, who I've never had a chance to meet before, just gives me, and I think get them also, just a deeper understanding. So I'm very excited to be here. It's not my natural home in the past, but it's late in my career. It's a very nice way of just thinking more broadly and getting the bigger picture, really. I've been interested in a project in the United Kingdom called Soundscapes of the Arctic, and this was Voicescapes. So I was very excited to see what that might be, and it was a range of different people from an indigenous viewpoint, really, from the Russian Arctic all the way through to Alaska, and it was just the views, historical archives of sound, of people speaking, interviewing, such as this, in a way, but back from the early 1900s on wax discs of all things. So it was a long history of that. I myself will be involved in a session tomorrow, where we have had a multidisciplinary program of Doctors of Philosophy at work, funded by the Leverhulme Trust in the United Kingdom. And we've produced 15 PhD students of a variety of across faculties, and so very much multidisciplinary. And we're coming to have a roundtable discussion really about our experience of that, because really it's the first time we've done it, and there's a lot of people here who have been doing similar things around the Arctic, and so it'd be interesting for us to contextualize where we've been, what we've been doing, and maybe learn some new tricks also for the future.
There are 2 points. First of all, to know where the Arctic is now in the sense of research and growth and the peoples. And the second point is to meet the decision makers and also indigenous leaders. It's a big conference, lots of people and lots of events all the time parallel. So I'm just going where my mind and heart is taking me. You can't really plan so much. You just want to know people. And yes, I have met really interesting people. These conferences were lots of economic growth. Nowadays they are talking more about people and what the communities want and indigenous issues. Of course, it's only talk, but maybe next year and the years coming, it's also back to action. I'm very much interested in indigenous research and education, and I hope that there will be indigenous research programs and also indigenous degree programs coming. We will have a University of the Arctic meeting in the weekend, and I'm really looking forward for that meeting also.
I think it was important for us to be here as this opportunity in these non-normal times to meet with our Arctic colleagues and Arctic Council partners to have discussions and stay current on relevant topics, and an opportunity to share the work we're doing within the Arctic Council and other areas within our region. I've attended the plenary sessions, and yesterday morning I attended a side event on microplastics, which I felt like it was important because our region is along the ocean, and microplastics is a huge issue along our coastlines and in our food sources in the fish and wildlife, and so it's an important topic to keep current on research that's happening and new techniques to help prevent that from entering our ecosystems. I expect to, maintain the current connections we have and establish new connections as we're all looking at sustainable development and climate change and a salmon crisis in Alaska, that we'll have new connections that we can collaborate and work together to solve these issues.